Hi, everybody. Hope you all are having um, a wonderful Monday morning. I promised that I would put in a video. My weekend got away from me, but that was a good thing. So here I am this morning, and I just wanted to come and share with you a little bit about how to get started with journaling and how to make it successful. So last week, I actually manage a couple of Facebook groups, and in my Live Life Better with Marcy Facebook group, we journal all the time, and I've been posting journal prompts here and there. So at the beginning of the coronavirus, I started posting journal prompts daily. And so a couple of people in this group had mentioned they would like to start journaling. So here I am to talk about how to get started with journaling and make it successful. So one of the things that I always well, let me just back up. I did not start journaling until 2014. I remember growing up, and a lot of my friends had the little journal with the little lock on it. And I remember always being afraid that, whatever I wrote, my mom might find it. So I had a journal, but I never wrote in it. And so as I got older and I went through Coaching Academy and I went through some integrative medicine training, I took a course called Right to Heal. And that was back in 2014. And I have been journaling ever since then. And what I can tell you is that journaling is very freeing, it's very refreshing. Um, and it helps you release a lot of energy that you may have pent up inside that you don't even know you have. And so, what I'm going to talk to you today is just about the basics of journaling. And so, what I want people to understand is that um, journaling doesn't have to be anything fancy. Um, what I tell people is always journal with your favorite pen, something that you love to write with. You love the feel of the pen. You love the feel of the pen as it goes across the paper. And then find your favorite journal. Now, let's talk about electronic versus actually writing. I am a firm believer that it takes a little bit more effort to put pen to paper and write. And it takes the process of forming the letters, the energy that goes in it. But in my Right to Heal class, I have found that um, it really doesn't matter whether you do it electronically or whether you write it. So when you hear me talk about it, I'm always going to be encouraging you to write it and not just type it out. But as far as the therapeutic side of it, both have the same benefits and the same effects. So either you choose either one, it's up to you. What I would say is that um, when you write, and if you're writing something that's very dear and close to your heart, and you don't want other people to read it or see it, when you write it out on a piece of paper, you have the opportunity to just pull it out, shred it, and or burn it. But when you type it out, you have that electronic stamp. And so just being mindful about what you type out whenever you are doing electronic journaling. How safe is it? Is it password protected? All those things. So those are the things that you want to be mindful of. The next thing is you always want to find the perfect spot for you to journal, whether it's at your kitchen table in the morning with a cup of coffee or in your little nook, but you want it to be a spot that is welcoming to you and a place that you look forward to going to. My instructor in my Right to Heal class talked about how she just couldn't wait to get up in the morning, and she has this little writing nook in one of her rooms that she keeps all of her books. So she calls it her library. She says it's not a big room, but she's just got bookshelves in the room, and so she calls it her library. And so she goes in there with her cup of coffee, and she sits down with her book, and she just writes, and she gives herself about 20 minutes. So what I would also encourage you to do is not only set up your space and make it very comfortable and cozy and inviting, put things in there that's going to make you happy, that's going to make your heart sing. So for me, I write down front in my meditation space. I keep my journal down there and my favorite pen down there. I've got some crystals, candles, and all those things. A nice little uh, meditation cushion that I sit on. And so after I finish meditating, I just like to pull my journal and reflect on the things that came up for me while I was meditating. But most important is just make it comfortable for you and whatever, however you want your space to feel and look and how you want to be invited into that space. The next thing is usually when people are trying to figure out exactly, um, how they're going to get started with journaling. And if they've never journaled before, they are at a loss for what to write, which is interesting because when I started journaling, I was in my coaching class and, we had journals as part of our little packet of information. And so she just sat there and said, she might tell us to look at this picture and just start writing what it means. And because I hadn't journaled before, I just kind of peeked around the room and saw everybody else writing. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to write? It's just a picture with a hammock. And so what I started doing is just writing out my gratitude list, and not just my gratitude list, but why I was grateful for those things. So I elaborated on it. And so you can have this stream of consciousness of what it is, that's coming up inside you as far as what it is you want to write. And so you don't have to write about anything in particular. And the thing is that the writing is just for you. It's not for your friends to read. It's not for your family to read. It is just for you. So don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about, if it looks scratchy or, whatever. You know what you're writing in that time. Now, if your writing is really horrible and you like to go back and read, you might want to be a little bit more mindful about, your handwriting. But ultimately, it is yours. And again, if something comes up that you are a little concerned about writing, go ahead and write it out. That's the therapeutic part, because when we get to writing, we just never know what feelings may come up. And so when you start writing, you're releasing those feelings, or at least you're bringing them to the surface so you can actually deal with them. And I think one of the reasons why one of our participants in this group wanted, to start journaling was because, he was having a hard time just kind of, um, processing the day with everything that we have going on right now with the pandemic. And so writing is a great way to process, what's going on in your life, process how you're handling it, and just get it on paper. Just write it out. And you go deeper when you write. You can go as deep or as shallow as you want. I would encourage everybody to really, go deep. And if you get to a point that, um, you know, you have reached, or you haven't reached your 20 minutes of writing and you can't think of anything else to write, just start back over. And I know it sounds crazy, but you can start back over. You can add more detail. You might add least less detail. Something else might come up because you thought about it again. So that's really important, is at least to just try to just write and get it on paper. So the next thing was the realistic time limit. So really, 20 minutes is a good start. If you can sit down and write for 20 minutes, that is great. I just kind of write throughout the day. So I have journals all over the house. So I have a journal down front. I've got a journal here on my desk, and I've got some extra journals. And because I teach, authentic leadership and some other things, workshops here at the house, I also give people journals when they come if they need it. I also say, I just love writing in blue. Blue is connection with my spirit, with the spirit realm. And so, I used to always write in black, and I do have a couple of favorite pens that I love to write. But now I just write in, blue. I've got a stash of blue pens that I love to write with. But really, 20 minutes, if you can sit down and write for 20 minutes, that's great. Again, you have to, just dedicate some time to it. If you're getting started out and 20 minutes just really feels like a long time, then start out with something that you, um, just to get started. Like I said, the gratitude list. The gratitude list is a great way. Now, a lot of people, when I say write down 10 things that they're grateful for, they really struggle with getting 2 or 3 things out. Stop judging yourself in the process. Whatever comes up, just write it. This is a no judgment zone. Again, this writing is for you. Now, if you're going to judge yourself about what you're writing, then you need to take a step back and work on the non-judging, and show yourself some compassion and grace for at least getting started with writing. So I wanted to come and share that with you. The next thing is specific times of day. If you are a morning person and you love journaling in the morning, that's great. A lot of people like to journal at the end of the day, and just kind of recap their day as it relates to things that they accomplished, things that they didn't accomplish, things that happened. So you can journal, like I said, I journal several different times of the day, depending on how I'm feeling. And again, there's a journal in my bedroom as well. But you can journal in the morning or you can journal in the evening. If you're just getting started with journaling, I would say, pick a time at first to try it out, see how it feels. If it doesn't feel comfortable or if you don't like it, then choose a different time of day. You can do it at night. Most people, I said, like do it in the morning or do it at night. I prefer it in the morning, and I do it again at night if I feel like I have something more to add or something that I don't want to forget. Usually, I kind of recap what happened the day before in my morning journaling, and then I kind of set the tone for that day, with my gratitude list and things that I'm grateful for and things that I want to invite into my day. So just to recap, find a spot that you enjoy, get your favorite pen and paper. If you want to type out your journal, and that's completely fine. Just remember to password protect it or somehow be able to keep people from accessing it. If you write something that you don't want people to read, and if you use a pen and paper, you can always rip it out and burn it or shred it. Set a realistic time limit. Start out, try for 20 minutes, but if 20 minutes is too long, then just shoot for something shorter. But in order to push yourself, try for 20 minutes. And if you find that you don't have anything else to write, then just start over. That's the therapeutic side of journaling. And I will also say that just write whatever comes to your mind, write whatever comes to your heart. Again, this is for you. It is not for anybody else. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about whether or not you can read it. Just write whatever comes to your heart and try to choose a specific time of day. Play around with it, make it fun. Look forward to it. Set it up so it's a space and a place that you look forward to. If you have any questions about journaling, this is kind of the basics. There are different types of journaling, poetic journaling, expressive journaling, and that's expressive journaling or expressive writing is a way to deal with trauma. So if anyone is interested in learning how or going through an expressive writing exercise to deal with some trauma, even as it relates to the coronavirus. A lot of nurses in this group are just dealing with working long shifts. They are, you all are dealing with seeing a lot of deaths, especially the nurses that are from up north and New York and New Jersey. The amount of death that you see in a day is absolutely indescribable, and that can cause a lot of trauma. Some of you have been separated from your families, and so I understand that wholeheartedly as well. So if you want to know more about different exercises that can help you through or help you get through these traumatic times that you're dealing with as it relates to your work environment, the changes as it relates to, policies and procedures. You have a policy one time in the morning and by the evening is something different. So this is something that can help you. Also, you can also get some coaching. I'm always available if anybody would like to get some coaching around what's going on and how to deal with it. So if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. And I think that's it for now. Thank you and have a wonderful morning and look forward to the journal prompts.